Next, we'll hear from Attorney General Strange. Welcome, Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Senator Sessions and members of the committee for having me here today. I'm very pleased to be here to share my thoughts. As the Attorney General of the state of Alabama, it's my sworn duty to uphold the rule of law for the almost 5 million people now that we have in my state. And that duty includes enforcing the environmental laws that help protect our natural resources and the health of our citizens. One of the most important matters I'm involved in now as Attorney General is serving as the coordinating counsel for the Gulf states in the historic BP oil spill litigation. Alabama's coastline was covered in oil and our economy was shut down for months as a result of the spill. So I understand firsthand man-made environmental disasters and the importance of sensible and effective environmental regulations. With that said, my comments today reflect a continuing concern with this administration's approach to environmental regulation. The defense of this proposal will be that the states have, quote, flexibility, but providing the states with a narrow range of costly policy choices, which most of the states did not choose for themselves, does not provide any actual flexibility and still produces the same outcome: higher electricity prices and decreased generation. Repeating over and over again the word flexibility is not an adequate defense or an adequate answer to the low-income consumers in my state, or any other state for that matter, who will ask why they must pay more to reduce CO2 emissions when those reductions cannot and will not impact the global climate. Congress did not intend for the Clean Air Act, Section 111D, to have such a far-reaching consequence for the American people. Indeed, to prevent impacts such as those that will flow from EPA's proposed emission guidelines, Congress took care to limit EPA's authority under Section 111D. Given the enormous burdens that would be imposed by EPA's proposed guidelines, however, it may be obvious that EPA has simply disregarded the limits of the law. These limits, moreover, are not questionable or controversial. They are express and clear elements of the Clean Air Act. First, the Clean Air Act forbids regulating sources under Section 111D if they are regulated under Section 112 of the Act. Existing electric utility generating units are regulated under Section 112. Second, the Clean Air Act also forbids Section 111D regulations that are based on emission reductions that cannot be achieved at individual facilities, but that instead rely on reductions that require actions by an entire system. And EPA's proposed emission guidelines fully embrace a system-wide approach to regulation. Third, EPA has improperly attempted to limit Section 111D's express statutory delegation of authority to the states. And in doing so, EPA's proposal not only rejects state discretion under the Clean Air Act, but jettisons decades of unquestioned precedent establishing state jurisdiction over electricity markets. In conclusion, the state of Alabama vigorously opposes EPA's proposed mandate to effectively restructure the electric sector, as it would have disastrous consequences for electric reliability and the economy. Those consequences, moreover, would all stem from a patently unlawful application of the Clean Air Act. EPA's proposal seeks to expand the scope of Section 111D in an unprecedented manner. It would do so at the expense of state authority that is expressly identified and preserved in the Clean Air Act and in the unquestionable jurisdiction of states over intrastate electricity markets. And finally, it would do all these things for no discernible benefit, given the increasing emissions of China and other developing economies. There's no rationale that can support such a regulation, and this Commission should ensure that it isn't halted.